Everyone, good evening. How are you guys doing?
Hello, I'm fine. Thank you. How about everyone else?
Hello, I'm fine. Also, thank you.
Hello, I'm fine too. Thank you.
All right. So, should we just do a little bit of a brief introduction? I am Hassan Ahmed Khan.
My name is Muhammad Zufaizat bin Muhammad Rasli.
My name is Lim Jie.
And my name is Krishna Jai.
All right. So, now with the introduction out of the way, let's dive straight into our topic. So, for today, we are asked to discuss on a very interesting topic for our generation. On the two main big players in the operating software space, which is Android versus iOS. I like iOS more than Android. So what about you guys?
For me, I think I will go for Android because for me, Android is really easy to use, and also in the open system. iOS is a very closed system. How about you guys?
In my opinion, I think iOS also is easy for use lah, and the interface of iOS also simple and easy to use.
Opinion, Android is more open source because it is common use by many people. It can use by many brands like Vivo, Oppo, Samsung, and other.
All right.
Yes, I also agree with opinion Jufa. iOS is closed system not like Android have many brand, have many choice. Yes, iOS just
So
only
for
for Apple. Maybe.
Yeah, so that's one good thing about iOS is that it's exclusive only to one kind of devices. It's only made for iPhones. So I can see how Android being more open is an advantage. But I'd like to point out one more thing about Android being so common is that for apps like Instagram, which is our favorite app. So for apps like Instagram to shoot a story or take a picture in your story in the Instagram app, you might have noticed that in the Android devices, it's a little bit grainy. But where iOS has an advantage in this is that for apps like Instagram and their developers, they know that there is going to be 4 new iPhones every year. So they have the time to optimize the Instagram app according to each and every device. So if you compare the quality of things like this, iOS is more closed, but it offers the developers more control and it offers a better experience to the user. So that's one thing which I feel. Now, you guys can put your own points as well.
I think for Android user like me, I think is iOS is better in interface. But when we look for a security, iOS also will win because iOS is a very closed system, so that the security is very tight, better than Android because Android is open system, so that when people want to hack or do jailbreak, so it's so easy on Android. But in iOS, it's very difficult one.
I agree. I agree. You can have more customizations in Android.
Yes,
Exactly.
I am very agree for opinion too far. Cause me also Android user. Then if I change to iOS suddenly, may quite difficult lah.
When we look in other perspective like battery life, Android will win because my friend, others customer complain that iOS is very low in battery life, and Android is a very long lasting battery. It can use until 1 day, but Android will do iOS will do half day only. What do you think,
I
Ahmad?
agree. Yeah. So the iOS. Yeah. Go
Maybe
ahead.
using iOS system, you want the best battery life, you need to buy the iPhone like Pro Max or something lah. Need to buy very advanced one.
If we buy the advanced one, the price is higher. So it is a point.
Yes.
I agree. I
The
agree on
point
that
is
point that the iOS devices, if you want to enter the iOS world, you have to spend a lot. So that is a very valid point. And
You know what? When Grace say about price, the point that come up to my mind is when you use iOS, you also have to buy MacBook, you also have to buy iPad, you have also
exactly.
buy Apple Watch. So all that device is a very expensive, and we all know that it's very expensive. But when you use Android, you can use Lenovo, you can use other brand that not even in their class. So it's very much cheaper.
Yeah, the ecosystem. The Apple ropes you into the ecosystem. They have the ecosystem gameplay. Yeah, if they hook you on with an iPhone, but then you are so obsessed with it that you have to buy the next device that is from Apple. So that is compatible with iOS. So that's the thing. It is more addictive, and the reason for it is because it is better. See, the animations are better. It's more cleaner. It's more simple to use. I agree that when you are coming from an Android device, there is a little bit of a learning curve. Like you have to take for a few days to understand iOS. But then once you are using iOS and you go back to Android, it feels like a downgrade, in my opinion. I have experienced that.
What about you, Lin?
I think Asan say also correct. When you switch from iOS to Android, you need to time to learn learning course. Have the learning
Exactly.
course. And when you comfortable with the iOS ecosystem, like you use iPhone, MacBook, or iPad, you switch to Android, maybe not so comfortable because the things different There no strong connection like the iPhone, same with iPad or MacBook.
Right, right. It's not as seamless as in the case of iPhones. So, Grace, do you have any other points in support of Android?
Oh, I have another point. For the language of Android, also more than iOS. Language of iOS is very limited. It just have 40 language only, but Android have 100 plus language can use for it. So I think iOS is very limited for user. Maybe for some country, their language cannot to be applied.
Point.
Uh,
Yeah.
Android is using Google, so that everyone in this world when use web browser, they will use Google,
Chrome.
so that
Yeah, yeah.
Android have a very many language, but iOS is using Safari. That's why it's very limited for the language.
Right, right. So again, like if you want, you can use Google Chrome on iOS as well. So, but I get your point. Yeah, the default browser will open Safari. So yeah, that's a very good point. So I'll take 1 second and I'll share my screen. I'll open the Jamboard so that we can jot down our points. Okay. So that was an interesting discussion. So in conclusion, what did you make out of this discussion? What did you what kind of a conclusion did you guys reach to?
In this year, the iOS system will also become more open and also more look like learn from the iOS learn from the Android to become more open and more feature from Android. Like iOS now can have the feature is always on display, right? in
Yeah, that's it.
iPhone 14,
Yeah,
14 Pro
that's
or
it.
14 Pro Max. Yes, this also is a changes lah, and the example lah for the Apple
Yeah.
learn from the Android.
Uh,
Thank you,
Yeah,
I
Yeah.
guys.
I
All right,
think
thank you.
Android
Bye-bye.
also learning more from iOS. That they
I appreciate the examples by you guys, how Android learned from iOS on things like Face ID and all of these things which were first introduced by Apple, and how iOS also learns from Android with the always on display, which was a new feature in this year. So I think that the perfect operating system would be somewhere in the middle of both, like a mixture of iOS and Android. I think we all will agree on that point. We,
we agree.
yeah,
Agree.
because how much ever we um, debate about iOS versus Android, we all know that the system that we support has a few things that it could learn from the other system. So that's it for our discussion. Thank you, guys.
Okay, thank you. Thank you
Bye bye.
all.
All right, thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye.